In today's training, I'm going to do a quick overview of the client maintenance function in Atlas. The client maintenance function is meant to somewhat overtake the customer profile maintenance form. As you are aware, this customer profile maintenance form is currently used to get non-financial changes for clients, such as address updates. It can also be used for signature cards if you need signature guarantees, so you can obtain the wet signature. We have put this form directly into Atlas as a submission process so that you guys are able to directly change and update clients' information within the system without necessarily having to provide a form. So to clarify, the client maintenance process I'm about to show you is meant to make the process easier on you, as you are not required to get the form if you are doing some kind of basic address update, name change, so forth. There will be certain situations where, of course, you do want your form, such as a signature card, but just know that this process is meant to kind of take over that form's function. So you are not required to have it by any means for what I'm about to walk through. When you have client maintenance to perform on your client, you always want to start in their profile. I'm in Jill's profile here, and once I'm in her profile, I can see a button that says Client Maintenance. Once I click this, you're going to see some familiar functions based on what you have seen on our customer profile maintenance form. I'm going to walk through each of these real quick just to show you how those behave and then how you can find those after the fact. Signature card for CIP is pretty straightforward. You can use the maintenance form to gather a physical signature just in case you need a signature guarantee and they've only ever had DocuSign stuff. When you're asked how many accounts are you updating, this is Atlas making sure how many people that it needs to ask you to bring across. So in this case, it's just Jill, so I'm going to select one and press next. And now I have the option to tell Atlas how I got this information. Obviously, a signature card requires some kind of physically written signature, so I have a customer profile maintenance form as my how was this information acquired answer. Once I press next, I'm going to be prompted to upload my maintenance image. So I'm going to go ahead and pop that in there. So now I have my customer profile maintenance form uploaded as a signature card, so I can reference that in the future, and Harbor can also reference that for signature guarantees. Every time you do a maintenance function, you're going to get some kind of confirmation so you can verify that it's the right client and that things are coming through as needed. Because this was done on a customer profile maintenance form, you're going to have the verifications for the email communication and annual opt-out because those are disclosures listed on that form. I'm going to press next and do my statement confirmation to finish this out. So now I can technically find this submission within Jill's profile, but I'll talk about how to do that at the end. Now let's do another client maintenance, but this time for an address update for Jill and her husband Joseph. Hypothetically, Jill called the office today and let us know that she had a quick little address update. They just moved across the street, so she wants to get that updated for her and her husband. I can go ahead and select address update, and when it asks how many accounts am I updating, I can put 2. First person it's going to pull through is Jill because I started this in her profile. How is this information acquired? Again, Jill called, so I want to make sure that it was client contact. Once I move through, I can see I have the option to go ahead and update their address. So I'm just going to go ahead, update that. It is the same between the two. So this looks great for Jill. I want to press next. So now I can search for Joseph. Once Joseph populates, I can click his name because his profile information now populates through. Again, how is this acquired? The customer called. So client contact, and again, I can just go right here and update that address to what I need it to be. I'm going to click this box because they are the same, and I'll press next. I'm now going to be prompted to upload something twice because there are 2 people. But as mentioned, you are not required to have a form. We have already notated that the client called, so you can press next to skip these upload buttons. If you do have a form, though, you are welcome to upload it. You're just not required. That's why this process is now available to you. But after we've gone through and confirmed we don't have anything to upload, we just have that quick street change, it's going to give us a confirmation. We can see everything for Jill. We can see the address that has been updated so that it's for both mailing and residence as needed. And as I scroll down, I can find the second person I connected, which was Joseph, and I can see his address has been changed too. Once I press next, I'm going to go ahead, get my statement to finish this out, and so forth. Once her page is updated, I can scroll down and I can see that we have successfully updated it to her new address. What if we had a name change for Jill? So say Jill decided that Jill wanted to include her maiden name within her name so that she can have some identity for becoming a lawyer. We want to go ahead and, again, in Jill's profile, click Client Maintenance. What kind of maintenance am I providing? This is a name change. And for how many people? This is just for Jill. So I'm going to select one and put Next. So now I get Jill's name information to update. So I'm going to go ahead and add her maiden name of Staden. All right, so how is this information acquired? I had a conversation with Jill about this. So I'm going to say it was client contact because it was in person, and press Next. And again, this was in person, so I don't need to provide anything for this. I can just press Next. I can go ahead and verify that this has been changed as needed for Jill, and I can do my statement to close this out at the end. So now, once everything refreshes, as you can see, it updates as we needed. The last option for client maintenance is a little bit different, as liquidation accounts only are typically for Benny claimants, so people who are claiming money and moving along. Sometimes you will have this for existing clients. If you have a maintenance form for this, you can do it like this as well. You could click liquidation accounts. I'm just going to mimic this just for Jill. And once I press Next, it's going to pull through her information on her profile just so I can verify that everything looks good. Most of the time for liquidation accounts, you do have your maintenance form because typically it's not an existing account. So in this case, I'm going to say that this is a maintenance form that I do physically have to upload as well. And I get these options here for the disclosure since it's the physical form. I can verify the address and make sure that it's the same between the residence and mailing. I can verify home and cell information, but otherwise, that's really it. Again, liquidation accounts are really only used for claimants, and typically you're going to use the Create New Client Record function on the home page to create those profiles for those claimants. But just to show you that you can still do that process here, just like every time else, I'm getting a confirmation page just so I can see what I've inputted. So I'm going to finish this out, press Next, confirm my statement, and we're good to go. So those are the 4 different options that you're used to from the maintenance form. Those are ways you can do them directly in Atlas. And the last thing to show you is how you can see those approvals after the fact. It's the same concept as other types of submissions. They go through approval levels here at Harbor, and they're also found within client profiles as submissions. So similar to how CIPs are known as NAFs, client maintenance submissions are known as something separate called compliance approvals. So you will now see a new code in the system called OM. I like to think of it kind of as like an owner maintenance or some kind of like account maintenance. I can see I have a bunch of different ones. If I specifically wanted to look at the one I did for my address update just to show you what it looks like, I can see here that here is my compliance approval for a client account maintenance update submission. I can see that this was for an address update, and everything that I have put in here that needed to be updated was in here. So this is what Harbor sees, this is what they approve on, and once things are approved, you will see information within the approval information section like you are used to. This has been how you can submit client maintenance submissions over to Harbor. Again, this is meant to take over some of those customer profile maintenance form functions, so you are not required to have a form for most of those submission types. If you have any questions on this process, please email atlas@harbor.inv.com.